Hello everybody, my name's Elena. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're doing a video that everyone and their mother is doing right now, which makes sense because it's the mid-year book freakout tag. I did this one last year and it was actually really fun, and it kind of gives you like a little summary of everything you've read the first half of the year, and it's really good for me because I read a lot of books, so it's good to just summarize everything and see like my favorites or books that were maybe disappointing. Let's get into it. We're gonna start off with some statistics. I have read 73 books this year. That is a good number for me. I like that very much. In terms of a reading goal, I don't set a reading goal for myself. I mean, I do, but like I set it at 10 and then just keep upping it by 5 or 10 every time that I reach it, just because I don't want to feel pressured to read a certain amount of books a year. Reading is something that I like doing. It's a hobby and I'm enjoying it and it's relaxing to me. And I don't want to feel pressured to read. I feel like I'm not gonna like reading if I do that, so I just don't. This is a no pressure zone. You read however many books that you want to read, however many books you can read. Even one book a year is good as long as you're reading. I have read 73 books and 11 of those I've given 5 stars, which is 15%. Yes, I did the math before the video so I wouldn't embarrass myself. I've loved a lot of books this year, and those are only like 5 stars. I have a lot of books that I've given like 4.75 stars and stuff like that. So this reading year is actually really good for me. I love a lot of the books that I have read. The first question is the best book you've read so far in 2023. I ended up going with The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. This book blew me away. I knew that I was gonna love it before I even started reading it, because so many people that I've heard talk about it have mentioned like found family, friendships, and those are things that I really value in books. And I knew I was gonna love it before I even started it, and I've been waiting to read it for like 3 years, so I finally did it, and I gave it 5 stars. It was amazing. I can't explain to you how much I love this book, how much the characters mean to me. They're so very fleshed out, and the found family is like so endearing, and they act like an actual friend group. I don't know how to explain that, but sometimes there will be like a lot of characters in books and it'll be like, oh, found family, but like that, you know, that people like that in real life don't, that's not how people act. This was really realistic to me. Well, the friendship aspect was realistic because this is like magical realism fantasy type of thing, so it's not realistic, but the friendships were, and I really liked that. And I think the main character, Blue, is a really good protagonist, and she's not annoying, and she's not the typical like really, what's it called, like she's not the typical like strong female main character that like just goes around stabbing people. That's good too, but Blue isn't like that, and I really like Blue. I think her decisions actually make sense. She's not annoying. I love her, and I love this book, and I need everyone under the sun to read it. Next one is best sequel you've read so far in 2023. It's Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. Oh my god. It was so good. I got this at the book fair. I'll link the vlog somewhere on the screen. I thought it was going to take me longer to read it in terms of how quickly I read it, but also how quickly I started reading it. I thought I would read it like this summer, like maybe in August or something. I read it before I went on holiday, and I read it really quickly. I read it, I think, in like 3 days. It's a chonky book, okay? And I read fast, but I'm not superhuman. I don't know how I managed to read it in 3 days. And I was honestly really scared going into it, just because a lot of people have said that they don't really like it and it's their least favorite in the series. I don't share that opinion. I give this 4.75 stars, and for reference, I gave Chain of Gold, the first one, 4.75 stars, and I gave Chain of Iron 4.5 stars. So Chain of Iron's my least favorite in the series, actually. And I think that might be because I read it and then stopped and then continued reading it. I really loved this. I can't tell you what it's about because it's a sequel series to The Infernal Devices, but also because it's the 3rd book in the series. All I can tell you is that it's about the kids from the characters from The Infernal Devices, and it's really good, and it has photos inside. It has a photo of one of the characters over here. His name is James. Don't worry, that's not a spoiler. But yeah, as you can see, it's annotated, it's tabbed, And I really enjoyed my time reading this. And I honestly shouldn't have been scared because Cassandra Clare never really lets me down, so. New release you haven't read yet but want to, this one definitely has to go to Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I don't know if it's a series or not, but it kind of is. I think that's like technically the second book in the series. I think it's interconnected standalones because the first one is When in Rome, and I really liked that one. I loved that book, and I cannot wait to read Practice Makes Perfect. The only reason why I haven't read it yet is because I actually want to read it as a physical copy, but they don't have it in my country yet. But I know they're gonna have it, so I'm waiting. I think it's the good girl, bad boy trope, but she has a flower shop and needs like a dating coach. And he's the bodyguard of our singer in When in Rome, which is the female main character in When in Rome. And I think Annie's the female main character in Practice Makes Perfect, which is the youngest sister of the male main character in When in Rome. That was really confusing. I'm so sorry. But go read it. Go read anything by Sarah Adams. Honestly, she writes adult romances, but they're closed door. So you won't get any like graphic like smut scenes or anything. Maybe just alluding to them. But nothing's ever written on the page. And I honestly think they're really good. And they're not that long either. So I highly recommend any of her books. Most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. This question is loaded because I have a bunch. Probably my main one is Unlucky Like Us, coming out in July 21st, I think. It's either 21st or the 20th, not quite sure. But that is the second to last book in the Like Us series by Kristen Becker-Ritchie. If you have been on this channel even like once, you will know that this is my favorite series of all time. This is the sequel series to Addicted Calloway, which is another one of my favorite series. But yeah, it's the second to last book. I cannot wait to read it. The authors said that it's very heartbreaking, and well, no one does heartbreak quite as good as Kristen Becker-Ritchie in my opinion, so I'm very excited and also very nervous because I don't want pain, but at the same time I know that I'm gonna love the book. So am I the problem? Probably. And then the last book in the series is coming out this fall. It doesn't have a set release date, but I'm so sad that the series is ending. Another most anticipated release of mine is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, which is the second book in the Empyrean series, the sequel to Fourth Wing. I loved Fourth Wing. I jumped on the bandwagon. People were reading it. I wasn't reading anything at the time, so I was like, okay, time for me to read it. I loved it. I gave it 4.75 stars. Originally, I gave it 4.5 stars, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it for like the next week after I read it, so I was like, no, it has to be bumped up to 75. That's really exciting. It comes out November 7th, so I've got a lot of time until then, but you know what? I'm patient. I have other books to read in between, and I can just reread Fourth Wing over and over again if I miss the universe. So that's a fantasy book, by the way. It has dragons in it. It's new adult. It's really easy to read. Highly recommend. The next prompt is the biggest surprise of the year. Definitely The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It's a 4-book series, and you have a little other novella at the end. These got new covers recently, so you might not be recognizing them from these covers, but I didn't like the new ones, so I ordered the old ones while I still could, so I can have them and appreciate them on my shelf. This is the same author as The Inheritance Games, which is right there. This is really good. This is basically like YA Criminal Minds. It's so good. It's so good. It's a love triangle because Jennifer Lynn Barnes loves those, but it's because it's Jennifer Lynn Barnes, it's actually done well, and I really liked it. And I like who the female main character ended up with, Cassie. I like who she ended up with. I also love who she ended up with in The Inheritance Games, which might be a bit of a controversial opinion. So the first book is The Naturals, the second book is Killer Instinct, the third book, which is also my favorite in the series, is All In, and the last one is Bad Blood. And then the novella is called 12. The last 2 books I gave 5 stars. All In is my favorite one because Sloane is in it more. And Sloane is my favorite character of the series and one of my comfort characters now. I also have a very strange relationship with her name because at first, like, I think for the first book and a half, I was reading it as Solane. I thought it said Solane, and then I just read it properly one day, and I was like, oh my fucking god, that's not what that says. That's not what that says. And then I thought it was Sloan, and then I heard Larry from Larry Reads say Sloan, and I was like, oh, never mind. So yeah, that's like, these are really quick books. They're like thrillers with a romance subplot, so very easy to read. I highly recommend this series. Everyone should go read it. It's really good. Favorite new author. So this can be either an author that's new to you or just a debut author. An author new to me is Helen Huang. I read The Kiss Quotient like before I went on holiday, and I gave it 4.75 stars. I loved it. I thought this was so raw and so tender, and everything that it talked about with autism and a young woman's sex life was so handled with care and tender and really like well written and expressed. I loved it. So I will definitely be reading the rest of the series. And then the other one is Rebecca Yarros, which wrote Fourth Wing, which we already talked about. I think everyone and their mother has read Fourth Wing, so it's not a surprise, but I really like her writing, and the story I felt in Fourth Wing was really well like thought out. There was like a piece of important information in every single page. The book was the exact length that it needed to be. It was amazing. This one was really hard for me. It's newest fictional crush, because apparently I haven't had like a really good like fictional crush in a while. And then I remembered that no wait, I did have one, and that is Caden from The Gilded Cage. For some reason, now that I've said it out loud, I don't think his name is Caden. Oh my god, is it? It's Calden. That is so embarrassing. Oh my god. And it's my new fictional crush, and I don't even know his name. It's Calden. It's Calden from The Gilded Cage. This is the second book in the Prison Healer trilogy. The reason why I'm holding this one up is because he only briefly shows up in The Prison Healer, and he's really present in The Gilded Cage, and this is where I fell in love with him. I can't believe I forgot his name. Anyways, if you've read Shatter Me, he gives me Kenji vibes. Which is a very big compliment. I love Kenji, but yeah, it's just, I love him, and apparently can't remember his name. The next one is Book That Made You Cry, and while we're on the topic of the Prison Healer, this made me sob, okay? The plot twists in this series are insane. People compare it to the plot twists in Red Queen. I haven't read the series, so I can't vouch for it, but it has insane plot twists. You won't see things coming. It's like a YA fantasy. And then another one that made me sob, but like in distress, was Bad Blood. Nothing could have prepared me for this book. Nothing. I am quite literally traumatized by it. Still recommend it though. It's really good. It just was really sad at the end, because the whole series, this is the last book, and like everything that's happened throughout the whole series comes to a culmination in this one. Even though every book has its own mystery, it all leads to this last book and like the big finale, and it's just masterfully written books. Books that made you happy. Definitely Wotakoi by Fujita. I have never pronounced this name out loud before, so I'm really sorry if I'm butchering it, but it's called Wotakoi Love is Hard for Otaku. It's a romance manga series about these people that work at the same place, and they're all otakus, and love is really hard for them, and then they start falling in love like within their little friend group, and it's found family, and it's really funny, and I love it. I've read the first 2 volumes. The other one is over there. I didn't want to pull out the other one as well, but I love it. It's so good. It's so feel good, and it literally made me happy. That's all I can say about it. Most beautiful book you've bought so far, Chain of Thorns. Dude, it's so pretty. Look at it. Gorgeous cover, gorgeous art inside. I already showed it. I'm gonna show it again. And there's like also art inside of the book. Look at it. It is so pretty. I can't. I love it. I love the way it looks on my shelf. I love the way it matches Chain of Gold and Chain of Iron. I love everything about it. this is definitely the prettiest book I've bought. The last question is books you need to read by the end of the year. Definitely The Blood Trader by Lynette Noni. That's the third and last book in the Prison Healer trilogy. I'm very scared to read that book, but also really excited because it's the last book in the series. I have a thing for last books in series just because everything gets resolved and it's just peaceful. Well, most of the time it's peaceful. I hope it's peaceful, but yeah, definitely that one. And then also I would like to finish The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I have the second and third book right here, The Dream Thieves and Blue Lily Lily Blue. As soon as I finish rereading Lovers Like Us, I will continue reading The Dream Thieves because I've already started it. I'm like 30 pages in. That concludes the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment if you'd like. Those really make me happy. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.